In a world where laughter once filled every corner of high society, we open on a grand ballroom alive with the chatter and giggles of nobles. The air is thick with joy, or so it seems. Ladies in elegant gowns fan themselves, whispers ripple through the crowd, and the clink of glasses echoes like music. But tonight, something is off. A piercing scream shatters the revelry. Kya! Panic erupts. Guests scatter as explosions of magic and chaos rip through the ballroom. A woman in a striking dress steps forward with deadly grace, her presence commanding fear. Whispers turn to accusations. It seems we have a rat in our midst. Enter Robellia Eland, or rather, the woman who would become the Vengeful Villainess. We shift to a quieter, warmer time. 5 years earlier, in a peaceful remote cabin on the outskirts of the Taigan Empire, Robellia, with her vibrant green eyes and gentle smile, shares a tender life with her loving husband Andrew and their adorable white-haired daughter Merrily. Soft moments fill the screen, poking the baby's chubby cheek with a loving "See you later, Merrily," handing the child to their trusted friend Delphina, and sharing quiet conversations about work and family. Robellia prepares to take on a high-paying temporary job at a grand estate, the Marquis of Hamilton's wedding. The pay is generous, the opportunity promising. Her red-haired companion teases her playfully along the way, pointing out Robellia's own unique features and joking about Andrew's possible noble descent. Robellia brushes it off with a laugh, but subtle unease begins to creep in. As they travel, they pass through a shimmering mana tunnel, a rare shortcut normally reserved for authorized nobles. Robellia's companion explains its wonders, but the conversation drifts to Andrew's mysterious absences, his sudden injuries 3 years ago, and the silver hair that marks him as different. Little by little, the seeds of doubt are planted. Robellia's friend teases her about her striking emerald eyes, even wondering aloud if there's a trace of the celestial custodians in her lineage. Robellia blushes and tries to play it off, but the questions linger. It's probably nothing, her companion reassures her, yet the audience feels the growing tension. Back in the present, the ballroom chaos hints at a much larger story of betrayal and revenge. The episode closes on a haunting question that echoes in the darkness. Would my fate have remained unchanged? A single tear, a racing heartbeat, and the weight of what was lost all point towards a woman who once lived a simple, happy life, now walking the path of a vengeful villainess. The episode opens with a dark, ominous tone as a heavy door creaks open in a shadowy, dungeon-like room filled with chains and hanging weights. Meanwhile, back at the estate, Robellia, Leah, prepares to leave, reassuring her friend Delphina while holding little Merrily. She bids a warm but slightly strained farewell to the household, her expression hiding growing unease. Later that night, Robellia shares an intimate moment with her husband Andrew. They kiss and lie together in bed, whispering sweet nothings. Andrew calls her "my love, Leah," and seems affectionate. However, the very next morning he announces he must leave again for urgent business, despite just returning. Robellia watches him depart with a complicated expression, waving goodbye while internally questioning his frequent absences. Alone once more, Robellia's suspicions deepen. She recalls how Andrew claimed he was attending a noble's wedding, yet something feels off. Pacing anxiously, she decides she can no longer wait passively. If he's lying to me, then that's beyond my control, she thinks. Determined, she resolves, I'll need to take matters into my own hands. Using a borrowed mana token, Robellia accesses a hidden mana tunnel leading to the Marquis's grand estate. Disguised in a simple maid outfit, she sneaks inside, reasoning that no one will look twice at a servant. Her goal is clear: find Andrew and uncover the truth herself. Inside the opulent mansion, tension erupts when the Dowager Marchioness Hamilton, Cruella, defies. She is furious, violently dragging and slapping a maid while shouting about insolence. When Robellia, still disguised, accidentally speaks out of turn, the Dowager explodes, demanding she be seized. "How dare you speak before bowing before me?" In the chaos, Robellia desperately blurts out the truth to protect herself. "There is a child between the Marquis and me."
The Dowager Marchioness is stunned. She coldly questions the claim, calling it a bold lie from a mere maid. Robellia insists it's not a lie and reveals that she gave birth to Andrew's daughter, Merrily, whom the Marquis himself named. The Dowager, still skeptical, orders her servant to bring Endymion and Margaret, another woman, for verification. As the confrontation escalates, flashbacks reveal painful details. 3 years ago, Andrew was found badly injured in a forest. Robellia cared for him and their relationship deepened, leading to the conception of their child. However, Andrew later disappeared again, claiming he was hunting demons, only to return suspiciously unharmed. Robellia's heart shatters further as she realizes Andrew may have been secretly involved with Margaret or another woman even while married to her. The possibility that she has been reduced to mere concubine while another woman holds the position of true wife fills her with despair and rage. Despite the humiliation and fear, Robellia clenches her fists and steels her resolve. Even if her marriage turns out to be a complete failure, she must protect Merrily at all costs. The episode ends on a tense cliffhanger as the Dowager Marchioness coldly prepares to verify Robellia's shocking claim, while Robellia stands trembling but defiant in her maid disguise, praying she can return safely to her daughter.
The episode kicks off with a shocking twist. While Robellia, Leah, is still processing the chaos at the Marquis's estate, a group of hooded figures suddenly appears and escorts her away, not back to the grand mansion, but toward a remote, humble wooden cabin deep in the forest. On the way, Leah grows increasingly uneasy. "We're almost there," one of them says calmly, but something feels very wrong. Back at the cabin, Delphina is anxiously waiting with little Merrily. When Leah finally steps inside, she calls out warmly, only to find the house strangely empty and silent. Delphina, Merrily, her stomach drops. What follows is a brutal emotional roller coaster. The Dowager Marchioness, Andrew's mother, reveals her true colors. She coldly declares that Merrily, the child Leah gave birth to, will now be taken and raised as part of the noble Hamilton family. Leah is stunned. The Dowager even has the audacity to say she'll support the child and the cabin life is no place for a noble's offspring. Leah's world shatters as she realizes this was never about love or marriage. She was used. Andrew never intended to make her his real wife. She was just a convenient woman who saved his life and bore his child. The Dowager's chilling smirk says it all. Leah is nothing more than a commoner who got too bold. When Leah desperately protests and tries to protect her daughter, things turn violent in an instant. Guards appear, swords are drawn. In a horrifying moment, one of the figures brutally stabs Delphina right in front of Leah. Blood spills across the wooden floor as Delphina collapses. Leah screams in pure agony and rage, "No! Merrily!" Merrily, terrified by the violence, bursts into loud, heart-wrenching cries. In the final devastating panels, Leah is left broken, kneeling on the floor, tears streaming down her face as she watches her only friend bleeding out and fears she might lose her precious daughter too. The episode ends on a dark, gut-wrenching cliffhanger, with Leah's world completely torn apart and the Hamilton family showing their ruthless true nature.